Hello viewers, welcome to the YouTube channel and you're listening to Sushil Shalot. With this new video, I am here to present you how to use the dynamic range in Excel. Before we get on to the Excel sheet and learn how dynamic range in Excel is to be created, let me tell you there are two prerequisites for this. First thing, you should be aware how to create a name range, and second thing, how to use the offset function in Excel. Both these videos are available at the YouTube channel, so please watch it before you visit this video and watch this one. So here we are onto the Excel database, and in this database we see the billionaires listed, the first 9 billionaires, the top 9 billionaires from the Forbes list of billionaires. And here we are going to brush up our skills of offset function. So here in the first cell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the average asset of all the billionaires. Already on the screen in G, H and I column, you are seeing the assets, age, and then the maximum asset. Average asset, average age, and the maximum asset of the top 3 billionaires. Now let me do it for all of them together. So I'm going to use the function average here. With this average function, I'm going to use offset nested. So what do I need to offset here? I'll choose the reference as B1, lock that cell. Then the next thing what I'll do is I don't need to offset any rows, so I'll give 0. The column here, in this case the column C represents the assets in billions, so I'm going to offset from the reference cell by 1. Then how many are the count in column C that matters, so I'm going to use the count A function. With count A function and column C chosen, I'm going to close parenthesis, define the width. Now the width here will be the width of one column, that is 1, and I'm going to close the parenthesis and again close the parenthesis second time and say enter. There it is, the average has turned out to be 118.7. Let me go here and check if it is correct. So I'm going to cross check this, and there at the right hand corner of the Excel worksheet, I see the average defined here as 118.7. So fine, the value here is quite correct. Now I'm going to use the same function here nested with offset, but now here I need to find out the average age. So I'll go over here. The average age is 2 columns offset from the reference cell, so I'm going to change this column's value to 2 and say enter. There it is, the average age turns out to be 60.11. And now the next thing what I need to find out is the maximum asset amongst all the billionaires. So now here I'm going to use the function maximum, that is max max. There it is, I'm going to use it, and the column here turns out to the first one offsetted from B1 cell, so I'm going to retain it, and when I say enter I get the value as a maximum asset of 177 billion USD. Fine, with this brush up I think we are quite well set to find out or to define a dynamic name range. So let us go to the let's go get on to the worksheet where the dynamic name range is to be found out. So let us go to another worksheet wherein I have defined the database as name, assets in billion, and the age very well for us to find out how to define a dynamic name range. So dynamic name range will be something wherein the rows or the columns, if get added, those will automatically get appended or added to the name range. In this worksheet, I'm going to create a dynamic name range with only rows. So how we do that? Here it is. I'm going to use the function offset. In this offset function, I'll define the reference cell as A1, lock it. Once done, the next thing what I'm going to do is I need to offset the row by 1 and the column by 0 every time. So I'm going to define that. Next thing is count A function I'm going to use. Count A will return me the value of the cells. Those are non-empty from the B column. I'm going to close it, and I don't want the name of the column, the title of the column to come in, so I'm going to say -1. And then the next thing what I need to retain here is the number of columns. Those are 3, so I'm going to retain those as 3 as it is. I'm going to close the parenthesis and say enter. Now what I have done here is I only created a syntax what I'm going to use in the dynamic name range. Certainly this is going to return the value error because the width what I have chosen as 3 cannot be compensated in a single cell E2. So I'm going to copy this. Once copied, I will go over here in formula tab and on the name range. One can choose to say Control F3 and reach here, or the way I have defined either or is okay. I can also use the define name function here, and here I'm going to define the function as one. I am giving a very simple name so that we remember it very well, and I'm going to paste the formula that I had copied and say okay. So now the dynamic name range has been created. Let us go and check it. So if I go over here and click here, there it is. I see the range has been very well defined. So I'm going to say close. And now what I'm going to do is here is I'm going to add a row. So the next billionaire, that is Mukesh Ambani, he has got an asset of 85 billion USD and age of 63. So I'm going to say enter. As soon as I enter that, I can again go over to the name range and check if the range has been updated. There it is. The name has range has been updated as it is. I'm going to say close name range, and something wrong has happened here. Let me do it in front of you. What has happened here is it has clicked onto some other range which is not a correct one. So here I'm going to choose the column CC or BB, B colon B. So be careful, this gets edited many times and that is dangerous. So I'll say there it is. So now again I'm going to go over here and say edit. There it is. The name range has been corrected, and there it is. The dynamic name range is very much appended. Fine. So if at all I decide to write something here and then say 50 and something something, I'm just creating a dummy value here and go over here and check over here. If I say edit, there it is. If I go and click onto this, there it is. The name range has got appended. I'm going to say close, and that's all. That is how a name range, dynamic name range with the additional rows can be created. Now let's get on to the next topic of this video, wherein a dynamic range with multiple columns or multiple rows can be created. So here it is. I'm going on to the next worksheet, that is dynamic range 2. The database is the same. So let us create the logic or the syntax for this. I'm going to use the offset function here once again. In this offset function, I'll use the A1 cell as the reference cell. I'm locking it. The next thing what I need to do is, in this case I plan to create a dynamic name range wherein additional row or additional column can be added. So now I'm not restricting myself to addition of one row or one column, but I will just say 0 0, and that's it. So I'll give 0 comma 0. That means I am going to add or offset 0 rows and 0 columns. The next thing is the height. So now height I'm going to define as open. So I'm going to use count a function again here. In this count a function, I'm going to choose AA. I just lock it. There it is. I'm going to close the parenthesis. Once done, next thing what I need to define is the width. So width again, I'm going to use the count a function. In this count a function, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click onto the call row 1, lock it. So there it is. Now the count a 1 has been done, and I'm going to close the parenthesis. Once I enter this, it's going to return an error of value, but never mind. It was only for the purpose of creating the syntax and explain you how I have created this syntax with what logic. I'm going to copy this, say escape. Now as I explained you earlier, I'm going to create a new name here. I will say TWO2 and stretch this, paste what was copied. and say OK. So there it is. The dynamic range has been created. I'm going to go over here, and there you see the dynamic range has been created. So if I click onto this, there it is. You can see very much on the screen. I'm going to say close, and now I'm going to use this dynamic name range for creating a pivot table. So one can choose to create a pivot table by saying insert pivot table. There it is. In the pivot table, one can choose a table or a range. Now if I don't remember the name range, I can use function F3. There it is. The name range appears on the screen. I chose it as 2 and said OK. Once done, I'm going to say new worksheet. That is fine with me, and I'm going to say OK. There it is. The new pivot table has been created with the name, asset in billion, and the age fields here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down the name into rows, asset in billion into values, and age I'm going to put into filters. There it is. So the asset is there. Sum of assets in billion is over here, and there is a pivot table created with the dynamic name range. So if at all I happen to choose, or if I happen to choose, I'll put off this age into rows again, or I'll put it into the columns, and there it is. Now with the columns I'm seeing the individual's name here, the age over here, and their assets distributed here, and then the grand total over here. Now if I go over here and I choose to change data source, here it is. If I say change data source, there it is. It is showing as 2. So I am correct. Whatever has been used is the correct name range, and the details are very much in place. Well, I'll put it the age into filters, and there it is. Now if at all I go back to the sheet or the dynamic range 2 and happen to append here the nation of these people, let me put the nation. Now what is the nation? Is USA for all of them, and except for Mr. Bern, that is France. The remaining all are USA, so I'm going to pull it down and paste it for this. I'm also going to add Mr. Mukesh Ambani. His assets 85, his age 63, and his nation is India. There it is. So now I appended this, and certainly now it should reflect into the pivot table. Well, it is not right now. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to right click it and say refresh the values. So once I say refresh, there it is. The nations have appeared here on the screen. And if I choose to click on the nations here and add it to the filters, there it is. So now if I go over here and choose the nation here as USA, select multiple items. I'm not going to select right now. If I say USA, there it is. I see all of them appearing here. So if I go to the filter and choose India, I say OK, and there is Mr. Mukesh Ambani appearing here as a sole person amongst the billionaires, first 10 billionaires of year 2021. If I say France and say OK, there it is. Mr. Bernard Arnault has appeared here, and if at all I choose multiple of them, if I choose India and France and say OK, there it is. The asset values and the grand total has appeared here. So if I go back over here on the dynamic range table and I happen to go over the formula tab and name range and go over here and check, there it is. Now you see the dynamic name range has considered the added row of Mr. Mukesh Ambani and the added column D for the nation of these billionaires. In this way, one can make use of the dynamic name ranges for creating pivot tables or creating, editing the various formulae, and wherever the table or a range can be used, here is an easy way of using range. Friends, let me give you a note of caution again here. It is not that easy. What you are seeing in a video is one of example, and as and when the applications become complex, there the expertise and the experience and the practice what you are going to take up after seeing this video will matter. So I wish you good luck for practicing this formula or this function and the dynamic name range creation. This dynamic range name range creation is very handy and useful in Excel applications. Friends, with this I am coming to the closure of the video. I hope this video and the explanations that I have given you have been very useful to you, and certainly you must have liked. If you have liked it, please express your likes at the YouTube channel. No doubt you have to comment in positive, or if there are any negative comments, I'll take it positively. A scope of improvement for me. But well, don't feel shy to share this video or the context to other people who are in need of this knowledge. And last but not the least, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel for the future videos and notifications, as well as please visit the channel for remaining lot of useful videos. Keep on watching the videos. I'll be back with my next video soon. Till then, goodbye. Take care.